Welcome on YouTube. It's Naleen, your Jamaican scholar, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I have become a professional supplier of breast milk to this little man. So Leighton is 6 months old. He will be 7 months old in about a week from today, and he is almost exclusively breastfed. As I said on my last video, Leighton is currently trying solid foods, but he is pretty much just playing with solid foods. He prefers breast milk. He also does not drink from a bottle. Literally straight from the tap. If you give him breast milk in a bottle or a sippy cup or something like that, he might have a few sips, but the truth is, like, if he's truly hungry, he needs milk from mommy, right? Yes. So as I mentioned before in my previous video, when Leighton was born, he had lost some weight, and I had to really get my breastfeeding game up to make sure that he regained weight and continued to gain weight. He is currently 21 going on 22 pounds. He's in the 97th percentile for a 6 month old. So I'm very proud of that. How was I able to achieve that? By just breastfeeding. Let me share some of my tips. So firstly, when I just started out, one of the things that I had to do was to pump after breastfeeding. So after I fed him, and he was down for a nap because, at that age, all they do is eat and sleep. So as soon as he went down for a nap, I would grab the breast pump and I would pump. And I'm telling you, like, in the beginning, sometimes nothing came, like just a few drops, but I had to keep at it. And so I would pump after he had finished eating, and I would notice gradually that I was able to get more and more milk after he pumped. After I pumped, and of course my letdowns, when he fed, would actually get bigger and bigger. So he would get more milk as I engaged in more pumping. Okay, so the second thing that I did was double pumping, and double pumping is actually utilizing an electric breast pump to pump both breasts at the same time. And what I found was that when I had initially started out, because I wasn't getting much milk, I would pump one breast at a time, and I would just get a small amount, and that was one of the reasons why I was pumping one breast at a time. But then I read online that if you double pumped, you would actually get more. And when I tried double pumping, it was actually true. The pumping action on both nipples actually gave me a bigger letdown on both breasts, and so I was actually getting more milk when I double pumped. So double pumping was something that I would definitely encourage. So the third thing that I would recommend is trying to stimulate multiple letdowns in one pumping session. So most times when you pump, that first letdown that you get, once that letdown is finished, you would assume that there is no milk left, and most people would end their pumping session at that time. But what I've found is that if I turn the pump down and turn it back up, I would actually be able to stimulate a second letdown, which would actually increase my milk supply. And when I nurse or pumped after that, it would be easier to stimulate a second letdown and actually get more milk in one session. And so that pumping and trying to stimulate a second letdown, that actually imitates how the babies nurse, because they don't suck at a steady pace when they're nursing. They suck, they nurse, they get tired, they rest, then they start sucking some more. So when I did that, when I imitated how he would nurse, trying to use the electric pump, I found that when he nursed, my letdowns were actually stronger, and I would have actually multiple letdowns closer together rather than further apart, which would lead to him getting actually more milk. And of course, it helps to increase the milk supply as a whole. So Leighton is ready for his nap. So, well, I think he is. So we'll see how that goes, right? So the fourth thing that I did was to try to increase my consumption of foods that I knew or read that there was evidence that it would increase my supply. And two of the foods that I focused on were almonds and oatmeal. I know about fenugreek as one of the herbs that increase breast milk supply, but I also heard that it can make the baby gassy or give them stomach pains, and Leighton was a gassy baby to begin with, so that was not something that I was willing to take. And all of the lactation teas and cookies and stuff like that I was seeing, most of them had fenugreek in it, and so I decided that I would just up my oatmeal intake. And so I had oatmeal bars, I drank oatmeal, or actually had oatmeal in foods with oatmeal as their base, and I would also snack on almonds and drink almond milk, and those were the two foods that I kind of focused on. One of the things that I did was to actually create a snack basket that I kept in my room, so that whenever I was nursing him, I would have a snack, or before or after nursing him, I would have a snack. So I would combine that with hydration, which I have mentioned before. So I just realized that I'm unable to locate that clip in which I discussed hydration. So let's just get talking about it right away. I cannot underscore enough how important hydration is. If you are not drinking enough water, then you are definitely not going to be producing enough milk for your baby. You should be drinking lots and lots of water. I had a 28-ounce bottle that I got at the hospital, and even today I keep that bottle with me, and I just keep refilling it through the day and night. It is always full of water, and it is something that I would strongly recommend doing. Drinking as much water as you possibly can throughout the day and night. In a related tip, I would say that you have to make sure that you're eating enough. Breastfeeding, especially in the early stages, while you're doing that, it is not a good time to be trying to lose weight. The truth is, the weight will come off normally. No, I'm not saying to go out and eat crazy, but you have to make sure that you're eating healthy and you're eating well. Being on a diet, starving yourself, will impact your milk supply. If you're not getting enough to eat, you're not going to have enough milk. So please ensure that you are feeding your body, because when you're pregnant, they say you're eating for two, but the truth is, when you are nursing, you are really eating for two. And so I'm not saying double up your consumption, but you have to be eating well and eating healthy foods that will help to power your body, so that you can produce enough milk and good quality milk for your baby. The last thing that I would recommend is getting enough rest. I know that having a young baby is not conducive to rest, but the truth is, you need to get as much as possible. When you're tired, when you're stressed, when you are not getting even a bare minimum of sleep, your body itself is not functioning properly, and so it's very difficult to produce milk. So yes, rest is at a premium when you are dealing with a young baby, but it's something that you have to do. So the whole idea of sleeping when the baby sleeps, that is something that's necessary. Ignoring the unwashed dishes or the clothes that need washing or something, to make sure that you carve out some time to get some sleep. And I'm not talking about 8 hours, because those days are done, but some sleep, 4 hours at least, you want to get some sleep. So I ended up, I was not good at sleeping when Leighton slept, because I was up pumping to try to increase my milk supply in the beginning. So what we would do is, when we woke up in the morning, Leighton's daddy would take him downstairs for a couple hours, and I would shut my eyes and sleep for sometimes just 2 uninterrupted hours of sleep. That didn't include me getting up to feed him or doing something else, and that actually was a big help. I always found that I woke up, needing to either pump or nurse, and that was something that I felt like I got some of the best supply. That's the time of day that I would find myself most engorged, was after I had some rest. So that is something that I would strongly recommend. So I hope that you find these tips useful in your breastfeeding journey. And for the new moms out there, it does get better. Breastfeeding is not easy. It does not necessarily come naturally to all of us. And as much help as I could have gotten back then, I would have taken it. It was a struggle in the beginning, but I figured it out. I now have hundreds of ounces of milk in my garage that I am literally now looking to find ways to use them, and I will talk about that in another video. But that's all for today. This is Nelene, your Jamaican scholar, saying until next time, walk good.